Hello, it's Rebecca and it's another book review day, and this one is my 23rd book that I've been reading for the 2015 reading challenge. I will put a little link down below in the description box to explain what the challenge is about, but basically you read 52 books over a year with each book coming from a different category. And the book that I've been reading this week comes from the category of a popular author's first book. So the book that I've been reading is The Carpet People by Terry Pratchett. So I will read you the blurb and then talk to you about the book. In the beginning, there was nothing but endless flatness. Then came the carpet. That's the old story everyone knows and loves, even if they don't really believe it. But now the carpet is home to many different tribes and people, and there's a new story in the making. The story of Frey, sweeping a trail of destruction across the carpet. The story of power-hungry moles and of two Munrung brothers who set out on an adventure to end all adventures when their village is flattened. It's a story that will come to a terrible end if someone doesn't do something about it, if everyone doesn't do something about it. A hilarious fantasy co-written by Terry Pratchett, aged 17, and master storyteller Terry Pratchett, aged 43. So, I will say right now, this is the first Terry Pratchett book I have ever read. And I know he's a very popular author and everyone has read something by him, but I never have. I tried a few years ago when I was at university. I had friends who were huge fans. And I did try to read some, but I just couldn't get into it. I'm not a fan of the fantasy genre. I have never read Lord of the Rings, I've never seen any of the films, and I'm prepared for a backlash, but I did not enjoy this. I couldn't get into it. It felt like a chore. I make up words, I do, but they're normally amalgamations of two different words, or they sound like the original word. But in here there were far too many made-up words. It starts off with a tribe called the Munrungs, and Frey has destroyed their city, and so they trek off across the carpet to Ware, where apparently fights never happen, there's no war, it's just a nice place to be. And although there are these made-up words and made-up places, no real description is given, so you can't imagine what a Munrung is, or what their town looked like, or who Frey is. Frey is something from above that comes down and destroys them in the carpet. And I think the thing that I had issues with mainly was there would be real things that we know about, so it would talk about cats and dogs and horses, and then there'd be an animal called a pone. And in my head I was thinking, is it a pony? But it's, I'm assuming it's whatever this thing is on the cover. It looks a bit like a dinosaur. I don't know. So you'd understand a few bits, and then there'd be words for things that you don't know what they are, and they're not described. And so you've got the Munrungs, and you've got Doomii, which is another tribe, and then the Whites, which is another tribe, and the Moles. And I didn't know what they were, or what they looked like, or what they did, because I just didn't understand a lot of the language. And maybe it's because this just isn't my genre and I've never been interested in it. And if you are interested in the fantasy genre, you've got the mindset to appreciate all this crazy invented language. But I just couldn't get it. It took me a long while to work out who the main character was, and it's a guy called Snibril, whose brother is called Glurg. I think it's Glurg. Glurk. And they're part of this Munrung tribe that is travelling across carpet. And there were some clever little bits in the story and some little bits that did make me laugh. But not enough for me to fully grasp what was going on. I did understand that these Munrungs were fighting with other tribes and trying to befriend other tribes in order to make their way to Ware. But just for me, it was a struggle, and I had wanted to read some Terry Pratchett for a while. He died this year, sadly. And he is a very, very popular author. He's written hundreds of thousands of millions of books. But I can't see the fascination with it, and I'm sorry, and I don't mean to upset all of the Terry Pratchett fans there are out there, but this really was a struggle. And I think I got to a point where I was just reading the words and they weren't going in my head because so many of them were made up and there was no kind of translation for them. I didn't understand what these animals were that they were talking about, places they were talking about. This really, really fell flat for me, and it didn't make me want to read any more of his books. And I think that is one author that I won't be reading. I tried many, many years ago. I made my way through this one. I think it's a good idea. Wondering now what lives inside my carpet and if there are any creatures down there trying to make their way from one side to the other. And if you are very, very small, trying to make your way across a, I don't know, 10-foot room, will be a trek and a half. And, you know, and if there are dust monsters and other bits of strange, I don't know what, hidden down in the carpet, then it could be quite frightening. And perhaps I'm Frey every time I walk and my feet come down on the carpet. Maybe it's me that's destroying all of these villages and towns. But yeah, sadly, I didn't enjoy this, and I'm not going to read any more Terry Pratchett. I don't think I'm going to read any more fantasy books. It's just not my thing, I'm afraid. So it's a fun little story, I guess, if you are a Terry Pratchett fan. But if you are a Terry Pratchett fan, you've probably read this book already, so I can't really recommend it to you. But I guess if you are interested in the fantasy genre and your mind can fully grasp these confusing made-up words and made-up places, then I'm sure you would enjoy this. But unfortunately, my brain doesn't work that way, and I like things laid out flat and understandable for me to fully grasp without getting so confused that I just haven't got a clue what's going on. So if you would like to hear any of my other book reviews where I have read some odd, strange, enjoyable and not so enjoyable things, then please subscribe to my channel. I put new videos out after every time I've read a book, and I occasionally give writing advice and talk about my writing as well. So if you're interested in reading and or writing, then please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.